Happy Wednesday, everybody. Thank you so much for downloading or streaming the Be Our Guest podcast. Just back from Marathon Weekend 2025, and man, did I have a great time. Thanks to everybody who came up and said hello. But it's time to get back to work. Pam Forrester's here with me, and we're answering your listener questions. We get some great questions today. We talk about mousekeeping at the DVC resorts, cheering for springtime surprise. Also, the best area of Coronado Springs to request if you're staying there for a race weekend. Well, I was just there, so I got a good answer for that one. Also, a very, very heartwarming story that took place over at the Cake Bake Shop just a couple of weeks back. So get those tissues ready. This and much more coming your way on today's show. Don't forget, our podcast is always brought to you by the Magic for Less Travel. We'd love to help you plan your next Disney adventure for no additional cost to you. That's right. You get our services absolutely free, and you support a small business at the same time, and you support our podcast. So it's a win-win-win. So come on over this week. Check out all the details today over at themagicforless.com. Please also use our Amazon affiliate link when you shop online. That one extra click supports everything we do throughout the year. It's beourguestpodcast.com/Amazon. And a sincere thank you to our Patreon supporters. You guys keep us on the air. We could not do this without your support. You can support us as well, just $5 a month. And for that support, you get a bonus show every week called Mike in the Midwest. Come over this week. We'd love to have you. Patreon.com/beourguestpodcast.
Ready to take a trip to the world? You found the Be Our Guest Walt Disney World Trip Planning Podcast. This is where your memories come front and center on our podcast stage.
Welcome to episode 2625 of the Be Our Guest Walt Disney World Trip Planning Podcast. I'm your host, Mike Rallman from beourguestpodcast.com and one of the senior agents over at the Magic for Less Travel. Happy Wednesday to you. Hope you're having a great week. And again, congratulations to all the Be Our Guest podcast listeners and everybody who was down at Walt Disney World over the weekend. Hope you are back. Some people are still down there having a good time, celebrating all those miles and all the fun. And if you are, lucky dog. And if you're back, I hope that you have recovered and that you've warmed back up. It was a chilly one there in the parking lots, but a great running weather. Got to say that. We're going to talk about all the marathon weekend festivities coming up on Friday. But today we are here. We don't miss Wednesdays. It's time to get to business. We got to answer those listener questions that come in each and every week to Mike at beourguestpodcast.com. And here as we record live. So if you are tuned in live, we got lots of folks here on Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, Twitch, and Twitter. Drop your questions in the comments and we'll answer them here on today's show. But joining me today, we have a special guest. Well, she's the co-host of the show. We're here early afternoon, a little bit early. It's really bright in the studio today because one, it's a little bit early, and two, 12 inches of snow still on the ground right outside my window. It's blinding right here. Pam Forrester, what's going on with you? Co-owner of the Magic for Less Travel. What's up, Pam?
I am so happy to be back. I will tell you, my debut back last week was made my heart happy, as our good friend Mary always says. It was good to see everyone, hear from everybody. So that was awesome.
Everybody was excited to have you back. I'll tell you that. I was super excited. The listeners were super excited to have you back. And you were mentioning how awesome the weather is in Pittsburgh this time of year, that you were excited. The birds are chirping. It was kind of like a scene out of Carousel of Progress, right?
Yes, right. I tell Steve on the daily that he is trying to kill me because there is no relief in sight from this weather. I've had to do snow blowing. Thankfully, our poor neighbor, after he saw Hannah and I using the snowblower, when it snowed again, he came over and took care of it all for us. We were we're not that good at it. He's like,
but it would have made a great TikTok. You know, if you'd have put just the right beats behind it, you know, it could have been viral. Could have been the first viral video of 25.
To see me completely incapable of understanding why the snow is coming back and hitting me in the face. Yes, I had no concept of any of this. But anyways, live and learn, as they say.
All right. Well, I mean, You got to laugh through life. I mean, I think that's one thing you learn about marathon weekend is that, these races, the 5K, for a lot, it's a hard race. You got to get out there. You got to get up early. You got to get out in the cold. You have to, endure 3 miles. 3 miles is not a short distance. You got to get out there and run it. 10K, you got that. You got the half marathon, the full marathon. And, it's one of, I think that's a great thing about these Run Disney events. It's kind of a metaphor for life, right? You got to go through some of the hard times to get to the joy of the medal, the ears on marathon, but also the memories to make the stories. We'll talk about that on Friday. I get so many thoughts, and they're all good thoughts about marathon weekend, because this one was super, super different for me. Super, super different. I mean, my wingman wasn't there, Scotty G. Super weird. You weren't there. Super weird, because you're always there. My wife, my kids weren't there. Wade wasn't there. I mean, so many people weren't there, but I was never, ever alone. But I'll talk about that on Friday, because today, again, we got to get to business. Also, real quick, speaking of business, I'm using a little bit different software today. I think while I was out of town, somebody came into my office. I just noticed this as we were getting ready to record. So I'm using a different version of the software. So if anything sounds different here as everybody is listening live, we have a lot of folks tuned in live. Let me know if you're having any trouble hearing. Let me know. But we're going to go from here. Got a lot of people here. Nobody's complaining. But if you're having any issues, let me know in the chat. All right. First question that we have is from Carrie in Portland, Oregon. And she says, hi, Mike, Scott, Ricky, and Pam. Mike, thanks for all the great coverage of Marathon Weekend, and congratulations. My next Run Disney event will be Princess 2026, but it's so nice to feel connected to the events through your posts, the podcast, and the lizards. I have a question about Castaway Club. I recently learned that apparently Disney can terminate your membership, and you have to start all over if you don't cruise within 5 years of your last trip. It says in the terms and conditions, membership in the program will automatically terminate without notice if member does not book or complete an eligible DCL cruise within the activity period. The activity period shall mean the 5-year period after debarkation day of the member's last eligible DCL cruise. However, DCL may, but is not required to, extend the activity period and or continue making program benefits available to member if member does not book or complete an eligible DCL cruise within their activity period. Such decisions shall be in DCL's sole discretion. Have you ever heard of this happening to anyone? I currently have gold status, which shows on my DCL account, but it has been more than 5 years from my last cruise. I'm curious if they just say this or if they'll really do it. Thanks for all your info. Cheers, Carrie. Pam, okay, I think we have a simple answer to this one, right?
Yeah. It was a recently enacted policy, so probably within the last, I think it was probably released in 2024. Don't you think, Mike?
I mean, it's obvious it's within 5 years, so this hasn't ever kicked in yet. So we don't know. It's everybody's still within the window, but I mean, 5 years from now, somebody could be hot one is the basic answer.
I agreed. I don't doubt for a second that Disney Cruise Line is going to do this.
Yes.
I think they never really expected the brand loyalty that they have, right? Because it was probably sort of unheard of in the cruising industry prior to that. It just wasn't, for a number of reasons. Not that other cruise lines weren't just awesome, because they are awesome too. But I think what it was people are just traveling more often now. They just are. I think we've all sort of recognized, hey, this travel thing, kind of like it, like want to do it all the time. And then when you find something that you like, you want to go to that again and again. So I think they just weren't ever predicting how much loyalty they would be, which is why they've created the Pearl level of the Disney Castaway Club. And then also they have put in this caveat that if you don't cruise within 5 years, you will sort of start over. And so make sure you cruise once within 5 years. And you know what? That can be easy to do, because when you have a ship like the Wish, which does those sort of basically a long weekend cruising, you can scoot down there for a long weekend, pick up a cruise, or do one of the other short ones too. They're actually on the West Coast There are sometimes cruises that are only a couple nights. They have ships sailing out of Galveston. So guess what? Then those all you folks who live closer to Galveston can take advantage of those. So if you need some suggestions or need some help finding an inexpensive cruise or a shorter cruise or whatnot, reach out to us. We'd love to help you do that because guess what? We're all big Disney Cruise Line fans too. We will never let our Castaway Club membership expire.
Well, too, and I know you don't watch probably as much football as I do, but Royal Caribbean markets a lot on Sunday night football. I think it is Sunday night football. Do you see those commercials? And what I noticed during this season is that they run commercials with one of their bigger ships. I think it's like Utopia or something. And the marketing campaign is basically it's a weekend. Like it's like I think they actually call out like a great 72 hours is kind of like the whole gist of the campaign, which I think is remarkable in a campaign in a way to sell a cruise. I've never thought about it that way.
It is. And that's so when I had the chance to experience Utopia, and I'm going to go back on her in the not too distant future, that was the whole campaign of that. They're really making a long weekend out of this. They have 3-night cruises that sort of extend over the weekend that allow you to really take like a day, maybe 2 days off of work and have that cruise experience. And this is one of their brand new ships. Like they were like, you know what? Port Canaveral is actually so important and such an important port sailing out of. We want to make it as easy as possible. So they did that. And Disney Cruise Line has been doing that too. Like the Wish. Weren't you shocked when they released the Wish and it wasn't 7-night cruises? Because that's usually been Disney's pattern. They release a new ship, only available for 7-night cruises. If you want a shorter cruise, they're on tough because you got to wait. Right. And
that's where I was going to go with that is that the Wish does that for the Disney fans, right? And Port Canaveral is so accessible with MCO because you can get so many flights in and out of there. And Scott's done this. I mean, even last minute, he's actually doing this with his in-laws. He got them a cruise. I mean, I think he talked about this on the show already. He got them a cruise for Christmas because they've been helping him out with some stuff around this other house he's been working on. And they're going to go sailing next month over it's the Super Bowl weekend and, quick little 4-night cruise over a weekend. And it's a great opportunity. You don't have to spend, a total arm and a leg, like you would on like a 7-nighter or longer cruise. And you don't have to take so much time off work, maybe just a Friday and a Monday. And you really get the cruise experience. Get out of, how awesome is it to get out of Michigan in February?
Right.
I mean, 4 or 5 days does your soul good, that time of year.
It does. And you know what? The other thing is that there is a deal right now on certain Disney Cruise Line sailings that have the kids sail
50%
free. Or 50% off, yes.
I mean, hey, if you want to pay the other 50, go. I mean,
they sail for half price when they're the third and the fourth guest in the stateroom. So that's huge. The other deal that Disney Cruise Line has going on now, of course, is that 50% off the required deposit. Which makes it easier to sort of get some money down on it and start paying that. So yeah, I mean, we don't typically see a Disney Cruise Line deal. The best deal is usually book it the day that they come out, right? But in this case, we have a couple of things that we're looking at. And so there's some good sailings.
But Melissa, it is not, having kids is not a savings with a cruise. Kids will cost you money in the long run. It is not a cost savings to go have more kids because of 50% off on a cruise. No, they will cost you way, especially if they're girls.
100%.
Girls will cost you way more money. I'm telling you, I'm an ATM at this point. That's all I am. I'm an ATM. When I go out of town, it's still, dude, my credit card just keeps doot. It's not even me. I'm not even at Casey's when I'm down at Walt Disney World. It's like, dang. Anyway, it's like I didn't go to Seven Brew. What? Anyway, so one other thing too, you mentioned how the Wish, those shorter cruises. I mean, how about the Destiny is going to come online? I mean, 4 or 5 night cruises. That'll be awesome out of Lauderdale. So that'll be.
And for me,
affordable.
I will tell you, as much as I love to cruise, I think a 5-night cruise is the perfect length. That's my preferred.
Yeah, it's a sweet spot. It
is. It really is. So.
Yeah. Okay. Next question is from Kate. Hey, Mike, congratulations on completing Dopey. Looks like a great time. I'm heading down for Princess next month. Had a question about mousekeeping at the DVC resort. So I was hoping your team could answer. I'm staying at a studio at the boardwalk and have two different groups of people staying with me during one long stay. First, my girlfriend is coming down for a girls' weekend, and then she leaves, and my family heads down, and we're cruising on the Fantasy. I want to request a full room clean between these groups so my family isn't sleeping on someone else's used sheets. I know DVC charges for housekeeping, and I have no problems paying the fee, but do you know what I need to do or say to make sure that as part of my fee? I would like the sheets fully changed on the bed and the Murphy bed. Is that even possible with the daily fee? Thanks for all your help and love listening to your shows. Kate, she says, go Bills. Buffalo fan. All right. So what about that? Because you know what? I think my room got, so I was not a DVC resort as a Coronado, but just a quick, I was there for 5 nights and I think they only came in 3 times, 2 or 3 times. But one time I told her I need to get in there because I needed a nap, but I just said towels and I'm good. She's like, yes. He's the best.
Deluxe resorts will have it every night. The other ones, I believe they're doing it every other.
Yeah, I think that's what it was.
I think, which kind of makes sense. So, and for those who don't know, if you're a Disney Vacation Club member and you're staying on points, of course, you do not get the full room clean unless you're going to be there at least 4 nights. And then you'll get that. So here's what you need to do. And I would put this as a preference. Call in advance and go ahead and have it noted on your reservation. But the thing you're going to want to do is confirm it when you check in, and also put a call into housekeeping as well when you're there. And the reason I say to do these 3 things, I know you think 3 things for one little thing, is you just want to make sure that you're touching all the right people with your requests, right? You want it to be noted on your reservation. You want it to be at the resort level, because I will tell you from very personal experience, sometimes those room requests that we put on a room, when they take that information from the big Disney server up here somewhere and download it to the specific resort, the resort request is not
I
there.
want to know where that stuff goes. Like,
Me
I want
too.
to, there's in the universe somewhere, in the ether somewhere, there are at least 79 of my room requests that are still floating out there, like next to Starlink satellites somewhere.
Yes.
Like, it's like, Aruba, the 70 section near the Skyliner. Tungaloa or whatever at the Polynesian. Like, I just see these words like floating in space. Like, they just never made it to those resorts. It's like, what happened?
100%.
I swear I put them on there, but they just never. It's like, God, they get blasted into space somewhere.
Those of us who use a Disney system often, we have a lot of requests that have gone missing. In fact, this is just typical for me. Every time I open the My Disney Experience app, I usually have to open it twice.
Yeah, it's got to warm up. It's like I had a 71 MGB. You had to pull the choke.
Yes.
Exactly. That's kind of
100%.
Like
Yes, this is exactly what I feel like I'm doing. Like, there on the snowblower, I found there is a little button that you press, a choke. I think it's choke button or whatever,
exactly.
to sort of put more air into the whole combustible engine thing, right? And you press this little button like 5 times. Apparently, I wish that the My Disney Experience app had this feature, because I think it could help them. But anyways, yes. So, all that to be said, if you do those things, and the other thing you can do, in addition to calling housekeeping, is actually you could say, hey, Disney, because they have those little things there, and you can actually do things to like order extra coffee or, do things like that. So you can do that as well if you want to do a 4th.
Order extra coffee or get your sheets changed.
Or get your sheets changed.
Order extra coffee. That's what I do. Yeah. No, by the way, though, today there was an announcement. Now, I like this. I'm a tech guy, right? You can now, because I'm an Apple guy too. I guess this might work. It was an Apple announcement, but I guess they're going to do something similar on Android. But you can now use live activities on your iPhone when you're doing mobile order. So you won't even have to have the app up. It'll give you the status of your app right there on the home screen. So it'll tell you, how you're always watching the bars progress, and you can play roulette with when you say you're here, right? And it's like,
yes,
like you say you're here, but you're actually, Columbia Harbor House, and you're still on Main Street. Like, I'm here. Yeah, you're not here. You're not even close. But But you can see right there on your home screen, right there without even having to be in the app. I think that is a huge, because I love live activities on my iPhone. I think that's one of the best features of an iPhone. And now, starting as this show comes out, starting on Tuesday, the live activities are right there on your home screen for mobile orders, which I think will be great. You won't even have
I
to mess with the
agree
app.
too, because when you place a mobile order, it's like you're holding your phone like this.
Dude, you're just like,
And-
turn purple, turn purple.
You're afraid to close it for fear you may not be able to pull it up again, right? And it may just be totally lost. Like, this is how much of a trust issue I have with this
seriously.
system.
Dude,
So I'm like walking around like this. Be like, don't touch that phone.
I have corn
placed a
dog
mobile
nug. I have
order
corn
here.
dog nuggets riding on this thing turning purple. Do
coming.
not
They're
touch that
coming.
phone. There was a girl that was not letting me in Casey's a couple days ago without that thing turning purple, and then it crashed. I was like, no! I swear it because it turned purple. The guy was playing because I was standing right next to her. The guy started playing the piano right next to me. So I went to shoot video. The guy playing the piano. Then the app crashed. And I was like, no, I did. It turned purple. I got the push notification, but then the app crashed. And she's like, oh, I'm sorry. I'm like, no, you're not sorry. I just ran a marathon. I'm trying to eat corn dog nuggets. I'm sorry. Let me in.
Right? It's like, this is my long con. I planned this big vacation
Exactly. I'm just trying to get video of the guy tickling the ivories.
so that I can go up to Casey's, have no order,
Dude.
but yet walk in there and stand.
If I'm with Scott, I'm like at Narcoossee's or something, right? I mean, I'm at some fancy place, like wearing jeans and like I can't even have a hat on. I'm like at El Molino. Nobody's there with me, so I'm at Casey's trying to dip some corn dog nuggets in some plastic cheese, and this girl's hassling me to even do that. I'm like, lady, let me eat my corn dog nuggets. I zigzagged out of Corral D. I almost ran 27 miles. Come on,
Right?
girl. Let
And
me
you know
in.
you're not getting a table in there. So like it's
No.
it's not about that. My
Actually,
God.
I got to sit at the bar, dude. I thought I was a king. I was
Right?
actually inside. Basically, you're sitting in a store. But I was
Right.
like next to the ketchup dispenser. But I didn't care, dude. I was sat like in an electric chair at that point. I didn't care.
I promised my children that we would walk into this quick service location, not get anything because we are not placing an order, just to walk in.
Anyway, we got another question. Springtime surprise cheer section from Liz in Rhode Island. Hey, Mike, Scott, Pam, and Ricky. I'm running my first Run Disney weekend. I swear, she's like, I'm not doing it after Mike. I won't get corn dog nuggets. I'm running my first Run Disney weekend for Springtime Surprise in April. I'm doing the challenge, and I have a few questions. First of all, I booked Coronado. Thanks to your recommendations from when I wrote in a few months ago. It'll be our first time staying there, and you all rave about it, so I'm super excited. Which section would you recommend requesting for a Coronado first timer? I got a story about this too. I know it's not guaranteed, but it's worth a shot. Second, and most importantly, my husband is accompanying me on this trip to support me in my first races. Can you please explain what he has to do in order to cheer me on, and where is the best place for him to do that? Thanks so much for your help. Pam, I'm so happy you're back and your husband is on the mend. We are from Rhode Island. I'm so glad he was able to receive the care he needed while in my little state. Thanks, Liz from Rhode Island. That's so sweet.
I will tell you, his nurses and even his surgeon were just so beyond awesome. Just everyone, the CNAs, I was telling Mike before the podcast, the dietitian ladies who he had charmed. So anyway, yes, he was very, very fortunate to receive such great care from the Rhode Island folks.
Who he charmed out of Uncrustables.
Yes, on the daily. Two a day.
That's a good
She would
charm.
be like, she would see him and she's like, I know, sweetie, I've already ordered your Uncrustables for you.
That is rocking. Okay, and we'll talk about Uncrustables on Friday, by the way. Okay, so Coronado was amazing, which I'm going to talk about on Friday. God, I love that resort. That resort is the bomb. Every time I stay there, I love it more. I stayed in the Ranchos, and I just let it ride every time I stay there. I don't care where I stay. I didn't book the tower. I just was by myself. Didn't matter. Don't need the tower for myself. I got Ranchos. I got Building 7A, which is opposite. I mean, it's dead opposite the tower. So it's like the furthest back, which is fine. It was totally fine because I was right next to a bus stop. It was a great spot, man. It was literally probably 20 yards from the bus stop 3, which is a good spot because it's actually the second stop on the bus loop. Great spot. However, the one time I was cursing the world, I did an Amazon order. And I'll just tell this story real quick. I ordered a case of Coke Zero, a case of Gatorade Zero, and a big thing of peanut butter and some English muffins. They all come from Amazon Prime Now or whatever, Amazon Fresh or whatever. Well, they all come in one gigantic Amazon box that gets delivered because you're at Coronado, right? And you got to watch this if you're at a business hotel. It doesn't get delivered to Bell Services. It goes to the business center. So that's a whole big hassle. So you can't get it. I couldn't get it at night. I had to get it during business hours the next day, which I did. It was my fault. I pick it up at the business center. I guess I could have got this delivered. Nope. Mike's stubborn. I put this dude on my shoulder. So I don't know if not everybody in our audience is as old as I am. But back in the day, ESPN didn't used to have like the major sports. They used to have like Australian rules football. They would have like jazzercise, and they would have like the world's strongest man competitions. That was me, but I'm not the world's strongest man. I'm kind of tall and like not skinny, but I'm not strong. So I'm wrestling this big box past Rick's Sports Bar, past El Mercado del Coronado. I'm still strong at that point because I'm not far from the business center. Then I'm outside, right? And I'm going across that bridge. Okay. Now, by the time I make it to 3 bridges on that bridge, and I'm outside. I mean, it's cold, right? It's still pretty chill. I'm sweating. But you know, guests are passing me, so I got to play it cool. Like, no problem. I'm not struggling. But I'm carrying like 1 million ounces of liquid and a bunch of peanut butter and some English muffins in this big box. By the time I get back by the dig site pool, I'm just like, are you kidding me? Like, should I just abandon this at this time and just forget all this stuff and somebody finds it and they just get lucky? Nope. I'm like, I paid for this. I drag it all the way back. So long story short, any place in the hotel is great. Any of the ranchos are great because they're quiet and awesome. But if you want to request a place that's closer, Casitas is what I would say. Casitas is my short answer. After that trek, I would request the Casitas because they're closest. But really, Cabanas, they're all fine. I mean, Pam, what would you say? That was the only time that I even questioned where I stayed, was if I had to walk to the to El Centro. That was it.
I actually, though, think about it. There's that bridge now. So I don't know.
There is a bridge, but the thing is, my building though was like, you had to go around the pool either way. Like you couldn't go, like if I was on one side of the ranchos or the other side, I would have been there, but I was like dead behind it. So
I get it. I've been at that building before. I actually really like that building.
I do like the building. If I didn't have to carry that thing, because like, I did go to El Centro a lot, but it was fine. It was a great walk. I didn't mind it, other than the box.
I know. But I think too, even when you think about it, it's funny. We had a guest who was frustrated sort of with their location at one of the resorts. And when you think about it, there are very few resorts at Walt Disney World that have a lobby with the central area and everything goes off of that one lobby. Like even Grand Floridian, Polynesian, you know what I mean? Those all have buildings that are further out. And I get it. It's a challenge. I think like if it's really important for you to be near El Centro, then you'll want to pay for a preferred location at Coronado. But if not, I think that Casitas are going to be your better chance, but you might want to request a building that's nearer to, because think about the Casitas that are sort of far away. They do go down
towards the ranchos. Yeah,
they are.
Yeah, but there's a bridge. I have stayed in those further out buildings though, by the Casitas that are further out towards the ranchos though. But a bridge feeds you out right there, which is nice. You can cut right. It kind of does like because those bridges, the 3 bridges, I guess they are. But that one, that when they built 3 bridges, it goes out to the restaurant and then it hangs a left towards that end of the Casitas. But then it goes right towards the dig site pool, which is the one I took to get out to the ranchos. So even if you're at that tail end of the casitas, you're still good. You can get to El Centro pretty quick. I'd go casitas. Even though I enjoy the ranchos, I love it. I think it's beautiful back there. I just love it's kind of more orangey, darker back there with the cactus and stuff. I think it's gorgeous. But the casitas are kind of more just like centrally located. I mean, either way. But cheering to the other part of the question. Boardwalk is a great place to cheer. She's doing the challenge. I think the boardwalk is a great place to watch the races. There's a lot of energy on the boardwalk. So I would see if you can get over there for the 10K. The 10 miler, I think. I can't remember the courses because I haven't done Springtime Surprise in a little bit. But the thing is, just look at the maps and come over to the Discord channel because people are talking about it right now. brguestpodcast.com/clubhouse and hit the Run Disney Corrals channel. And people are talking about that right now, where to cheer for Springtime Surprise. And you'll get great advice there for folks who are going to be there and that have cheered. But the boardwalk is where I would cheer. And people, I think Veronica was even saying like what time to get there. I think today. So it's a good time to do that. All right, let's get to another question. And first of all, have a good time on your first Run Disney race. That is awesome. All right, we have I think this is a little feedback here. Where are we at here? We're good. Kelly says, good morning. Love the podcast. I've listened for so many years. I feel like I've listened for as long as I've been a mom at this point. How about that? I just wanted to share a sweet story that happened to us just last week. Oh, I read this one the other day. Listen to this. So Pam, get ready. You got a Kleenex?
I don't want to cry.
I think it's a song by, was it Mariah Carey or something? I don't know. Okay, here we go. We were blessed to be able to adopt our foster daughter 1 week before Christmas. We have two biological daughters, ages 13 and 11. For their Christmas gift, we gifted them a mother-daughter trip to celebrate officially being sisters. We went January 2nd to the 6th. We had a reservation at the Cake Bake Shop for lunch on Saturday. When we went, they asked if we were celebrating anything, and I let them know that we were. And I told them it was their first trip as official sisters. The server got really teary-eyed and had to excuse himself. When he came back, he brought Gwendolyn Rogers with him, the owner/creator of the Cake Bake Shop. She sat down and talked to us for a while, sharing her icing recipe, telling us how she came up with it, what the next decorations would be, etc. Then several minutes later, the server came back with gift bags for each of my girls with a ballerina doll in each, their signature doll. He said that Gwendolyn wanted the girls to have a doll to commemorate how special this trip is. It was really incredible. As we dined, several servers came by to congratulate the girls and congratulate me. It was just so incredibly special. It certainly was an experience we'll never forget, and the dolls are something that my girls will keep forever to remember this monumental occasion. Side note, the meal was hands down the best meal we've ever had at Disney. I was so impressed. Hope you're all staying warm and have a good week. Kelly. How about that?
I love it. I think it's just a great story. And I've heard so many great reports of the Cake Bake Shop that it is pricey and it is worth it. So I think that it's definitely going to be someplace that we go to when I get the opportunity, for sure.
I just love when people take the time to write in a story like that, because I know that those stories don't just happen at the Cake Bake Shop. You know, that could happen, like I say, at Casey's. That could happen at Columbia Harbor House. Sure. It could happen at, you know, I know that things like that happen in Morimoto Asia, you know, but cast members do this all the time. You know, give ice cream cones out to a little kid that's having a little bit of a struggle, you know, waiting for fireworks to happen. But you just don't know what another guest is going through, what they're celebrating, you know, and that's, I don't know. A lot of folks haven't been down there solo, I don't think. I think it's kind of, I was thinking about this on my trip when I was down there this past weekend, is that, you know, you can look at being down there solo two ways, right? Like I really did miss being there with my wife and my kids and stuff like that. And especially, you know, Scott wasn't there, because when I'm not with my family, I'm usually like pseudo with his family, right? I'm like hanging out with his family. They're like my second family. And they weren't there this time, or your family. I'm always like attached to somebody else's family, and I wasn't this time. And I really kind of took it in. And so I could have been like, you know, this is really kind of a negative thing. But what I did see a lot of moments like that, you know, like when you just take the time to look around at Walt Disney World, you wonder what people are celebrating. Cause like, you don't go up and ask people, obviously, you know, that's rude and you things like that. But you know, like when you see, cause even people that, well, here, I'll share this story because there's too many stories to share on Friday. So it was cold down there the whole weekend, right? But I think it was Friday, the sun came out and it got to be like 70 degrees, right? It was finally nice out. So I'm like, rock on. It's great. So that day I went to Epcot and I was going to have lunch at Epcot after the 10K. So I'm like, I'm getting fish and chips at Epcot because I love fish and chips. So I went over there and man, you know how it is, Pam, right? It like went on a busy day at Epcot. It was right like 11:30. It just opened. It was a madhouse to get the tables. Like people were like, you know how the birds swoop down? Like the people were swooping the tables like the birds are swooping the fries that hit the ground. Like it was crazy. Well, I got lucky. I just happened to be kind of like, I got my basket, my little boat, you know, and I had, but you know, when you're solo, dude, you got to think ahead. That's the one thing, dude. I had my malt vinegar. I had my salt, my pepper, my ketchups. I had everything I needed, my napkins, all in my pockets. I was loaded. So when I sat down, I didn't have to get back up, right? So I go over to my table and I felt bad, right? I mean, I was sitting at a 4-person table, just me. But I mean, what can I do? They don't make tables for one. So I'm taking, you know, it's 3 seats empty. But dude, I was going to eat fast, you know, but I had to take my picture with all my food. That's what I do on Instagram. So I'm sitting there by myself, dude. People are looking at me, but I'm like, what you mean, vet 3 people? I can't help it. I'm one person. There's no 1-person table. So I'm just eating like, bro. Funniest thing happened. This is awesome because it's the spirit of Epcot. I am not kidding. I'm sitting there. A Japanese family of 3 sits down, boom, right at the table with me. Don't speak English. Didn't even speak English. They just sat right down with me because there were 3 empty seats. Boom. Mom, grandma, and a little girl. They just sit down with me. I'm like, this is awesome. But it startled me because like all of a sudden it was like beer garden. It was like I had people dining with me and I couldn't speak to them though because we didn't speak the same language. I didn't think. So I'm sitting there messing with my phone like I was halfway through my fish. Like the whole thing was like I'm kind of, you know, like the whole thing with like those big fish fillets, they're kind of messy, right? And if I'm sitting by myself, I don't care because I had malt vinegar on it, dude. It was all sloppy.
That's the best.
Oh yeah, my fries had malt vinegar on them. They were all falling apart. It was just a wreck. But then, like, you know, like grandma was sitting right next to me. She was almost like uncomfortably close. So it was almost, I was like, oh man, now I got to use my manners, especially because like, I don't want to offend a Japanese grandma, you know, because like she's like, because the culture, right? I was like, oh no, like elbows on the table. I was all like, you know, I was by myself. I didn't have any, you know, I wasn't being rude or anything, but I wasn't worried about elbows on the table, stuff like that. So all of a sudden I'm like, oh man, I got to represent Americans like in a good way. So we're all there, you know, and I want to talk to them, but they were speaking Japanese to each other. And I'm like, they're probably talking about me for sure. I'm like, I know they are, but I can't ask. So I'm just going to play with my phone here real quick and finish off my food. And then, so I finish, right? And I clean everything. Dude, I cleaned it up so nice because I didn't want to like leave a mess. Cause like there'll be, you know, look at that American guy. And then the little girl, she's probably like, she's the sweetest little thing. She's probably like 6 or 7. She says, "Thank you for sharing your table with us, sir." Oh! I said, "No way." No way. She can speak English. I was like, I could have said something this whole time, but it was like, it was the coolest Epcot moment, right? I mean, you know, like you got to go solo to have something like that happen. But I was the whole time when I walked off, I was just smiling because I'm like, that was like, to me, that was like 1980s Epcot right there. Like, it just happened. But like I walked away and I'm like, I can't believe that just happened. Like I was sitting there and they just boom, sat down with me. Like I could have been like, what are you doing?
Right.
Because at first I kind of was like that. I was a little bit startled. But then
you were taken aback a little bit.
Yeah, exactly. But I'm like, dude, I'm at Epcot.
Yeah.
This is the spirit of Epcot. Let's go. Like this is
It
great.
is. It is. And I love that you know, folks will do that. It just is kind of it's like the little, like, you're right, the spirit of Epcot. That's really the best explanation for what happened there.
I loved it.
It's
I loved it.
awesome.
They were so polite. I just wish we could have like You know, because like Masayo, right? She's one of my dear friends from Japan. Like we've been friends for years, but she speaks English, right? And she actually plays the piano now very well. She's taking her lessons, putting them on Facebook every day. I'm super proud of her. But you know, it's like I didn't want to offend or anything like that, so I was trying to be very proper. But they were speaking all Japanese, so I didn't. It was hard to break the ice. But it was. I wish we could do that more, right? I mean, you know, like that was. It solved a problem, right? There wasn't enough seating. And so what it did, it was like an efficiency thing, right? I was taking up, there were 3 vacant seats. There were 3 of them.
Right. Yes.
Boom. It solved a problem. Like it was a problem and it was no problem for me at all. Like it was great. It was like, that's how it should be. Nobody was offended.
Agreed.
It was awesome. Okay. Last question here from Andrew in Utah. Hey, Mike, I was listening to your awesome over under podcast today on my commute. So this question is inspired by that. We are looking forward to our trip this summer, and we're hoping that the drone show Dreams That Soar will return to Disney Springs for summer 2025. I'm sure that Disney will be looking for additional entertainment options to try to combat competition from Epic Universe. If I set the likelihood of Dreams That Soar returning at 75%, what would each of your over under predictions be? Thanks, Andrew from Utah. Pam, what would you say? And we have another special visitor here because it's over under. Maybe he can give us his. He didn't even know he was on here. I just caught him off guard. But he's a prognosticator or whatever you call him.
I would say over 75%
for Dreams
but
That Soar coming back.
Not. It will probably have a different name.
So you think we'll have a drone show at Disney Springs over
I do.
75%, you would say?
I do. And do you want to know why? I'll give you a little reasoning on that. Because when I got to go to see the Treasure in New York, they had a big drone show.
That was
for
awesome.
It, above it. So they are working on some things, let's just say. Disney's, involved in that. And I think that they feel fairly safe doing it at Disney Springs, and it gives everyone sort of a reason to head over there to the Springs in the summer too. So, yeah.
Scotty G hopping in here because he's gonna be with us on Friday. Just kind of caught him off guard. Scotty G, 75% drone show over under for the summer. What do you think?
Yeah, I was just texting my friend Jared, who's at Rainforest Cafe at Disney's Animal Kingdom, which I thought was like the strangest spot to be, right?
Yeah,
like,
it is.
I asked him, like, are you like the only people in that restaurant right now? But he was showing me how they do the old fashioned over there, which is a lot of ice, unfortunately. But I'm gonna say over as well. I think that's a popular thing. I think it's a hit. I think it was really successful the last time they did it. They just I think, and I kind of, not to steal Pam's answer, but I think it'll be like under a different like format, different name and show. But yeah, I definitely think they'll be back.
Yeah, I would give it. I would.
You know
give
what
it
I would
over
love
to.
to see.
Go ahead.
And I think there's like port authority or port rules that don't allow this, but it'd be great if the ships could stay like overnight at Castaway Key. Like, even if like you're not on the island, if you're just on the ship, it could just stay docked there. And if they did like a drone show on the island, like, wouldn't that be cool? Like everyone gets out on deck and watches a drone show at Castaway. Like that would be so darn cool. But I think there's rules, right, that don't allow them to dock there overnight. I don't know.
Well, I think what I've always heard is the reason for Castaway Key and other ships to leave their private islands at night was that the bugs at night are really like pervasive. It's a problem.
Gotcha.
Just because it's a tropical location, right?
Makes sense.
So we can't dome the Bahamian area or the Caribbean area. So I've heard that is kind of.
I've heard the bugs are bigger than the drones in the Bahamas.
Yeah, probably.
That's basically what it is. It's a firefly show, not a
Yes.
drone show.
They could get the Animal Kingdom staff to do some kind of behavior modification, and boom.
Yeah, because I mean, even on those back-to-back, remember we had back-to-back Castaway Key days on that one cruise. Like, there, we had to go out and come back in.
They
like,
sail away.
Yeah, exactly. I was like,
Yes.
wait, we're doing this in consecutive days, but we have to leave and come back. Like, we're here tomorrow.
We need
like,
to be
what?
further out than the mosquitoes can fly.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I wonder though if they could ever
I never had that thought.
launch the drones from the ship.
Hmm.
Could you imagine that instead of fireworks? I wonder
It
how
seems
big of like a
big
footprint
thing that they would
need.
have to transport.
Yeah, guess so.
A lot of
Maybe
extra
later
weight
then.
on the
Yeah,
ship.
yeah.
And,
Yeah,
but like,
I would say
and
it's
the, and the ship is moving, so I don't know how that works. Like, I mean, I guess they could program it, but like,
Yeah.
you'd have to know like how the wind is working that day. I feel like,
Right.
I don't know. That could
Look,
be
if we
fun.
can put a man on the moon.
Yeah, that's what I'm
That's
thinking.
true.
Exactly. I mean, we've done harder things. I mean, it's pretty amazing. I mean, have you seen that one rocket that comes back and they catch it with chopsticks? I
Right.
mean, it could possibly happen. I mean, I don't know, but yeah, I
I
would
didn't
say
mean to get us
also
down this
so-
rabbit hole, but I think about that a lot. Like, how could they do? Because I've been like heavy on cruise thoughts lately, and it's just like that would be kind of cool if they could do something like a Castaway like that. But it's just you're only there during the day, so.
Mm-hmm.
Veronica says they were at Castaway overnight. The weather was so bad they went there because they had to get out of some weather. So yeah, I guess it does happen. I guess if you have really bad weather, you don't have to worry about bugs. That's one of the good things.
True.
Like,
True.
weather does keep the bugs down.
It does.
That's
I mean,
It's
I was
impressive.
there. I had to take shelter on Castaway one
That's true.
time. I was there. Yeah.
when like a
They
tornado
had
or
the
something.
tornado
comes
on
in?
the
Yeah.
water. That was insane.
Yes, and but these things normally don't happen. So yes, we do offer onboard credits for your next Disney cruise.
Yeah.
So these things rarely happen. Just
As a frequent Castaway visitor, though, that was like actually one of my favorite things. Like, this is awesome. We're like taking shelter under cookies. I was just bummed out. And then I ended up moving to like a bar, and I was like, sweet. I'm just like hanging out at Castaway at a bar. Like, there's
Yeah.
a tornado like
I mean,
right by the ship right now.
yeah, I tell you, tornadoes in Missouri, tornadoes on Castaway Key, much better.
I can't think
on
of what the
Castaway
term
Key.
is. Like, I'm gonna have to Google it. I'll share it on Friday what that term was. I know it's
It's like
not
a
called.
water funnel or something.
Yeah,
It's a
something
water.
like that.
It's a
yeah.
water spout.
Spout.
Yes, that's what it is.
That's
yeah.
it.
I'm a
It
science
took
nerd.
all three of us to put
Yeah.
this
I'm a
word
science
together.
It was
nerd.
almost like spinning around like a
Yeah, yeah,
tornado.
yeah.
It's like how we figured it out. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm a nerd.
But the video I took was unbelievable, though. Like, it was crazy. I mean, it looked like it was right next to the ship. It was unbelievable. But anyway,
Again, these things never happen. People that want to go on cruises, great onboard credits with the Magic for Less Travel. Let's book one today. Let's go. They don't normally happen. I think Scott's just making this. I'm not going to add Scott to a show willy nilly next time. Just kidding.
I think this is getting more people that want to go.
It is. It's great. All right, we're going to get out of here, but we're going to get back and talk Marathon Weekend 2025. Lots and lots of thoughts, and we're going to have a good time talking about that on Friday's show. So come on back. But don't forget, we'd love to help you plan your next Walt Disney World, Disneyland, Disney Cruise Line, even Adventures by Disney trip for no additional cost to you this week. So come on over and check out all the details today over at themagicforless.com. Please also use our Amazon affiliate link when you shop online. That one extra click supports everything we do throughout the year. It's beourguestpodcast.com/Amazon. And thank you so very much to our Patreon supporters. You guys make all this possible. We could not do this without you. You can support us as well, just $5 a month. And for that support, you get our bonus show called Mike in the Midwest. Come over this week. We'd love to have you. Patreon.com/beourguestpodcast. Give us all a follow on the social media. I'm at beourguestmike. Lots of great pictures from Marathon Weekend on my Instagram right now. Some reels as well. Check out Scott. He's at epscott on the social media. Also, check out Must See Adventures on YouTube. That's his YouTube channel. Lots of great cruising content there. And check out Pam, TMFLT Pam on the socials. And Scott and I are going to get together Sunday night, live call-in show. We want to talk Marathon Weekend thoughts. You have thoughts about the new course, all your memories, your stay, the medals, the merch. Man, the merch, the expo, that was wild. Give us a call Sunday night because Scott knows how those things are. Scott's been to all of them. He wasn't there this year, but he has thoughts too, and he was following everything on social media. So let's talk Sunday night. So give us a call on that evening as well. All right, we'll be back again on Friday to talk some Marathon Weekends. Hope you'll be there as well. So for Scott and Pam, I'm Mike, wishing you a great Wednesday. Stay safe, stay healthy, and we'll see you real soon.
You've been listening to the Be Our Guest Walt Disney World Trip Planning Podcast. If you have questions, comments, or would like to be a guest on the show, please visit our website at beourguestpodcast.com. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you real soon.